Hi, my name is Noel Davis with World Composting, and today we're going to do an update on our African Nightcrawler bin. Now, this is the bin that I originally set up back in May of this year, and they went through all the cardboard essentially that was in the bin. I was quite surprised. It was a smaller bin. It was one of my, busboy totes, but they ate every single shred of cardboard in that bin. So what I did is I had taken out all the large worms and added them to a hamster bedding bin that I started. And that was voted on by you, the viewers, as to whether I should use the African Nightcrawlers or the Red Wigglers, and the African Nightcrawlers won. And with that, I also left this bin sort of up and running. I added in like a section of cardboard off to the side, and then one of you suggested that I should actually keep it going and then just keep taking out all the large African Nightcrawlers out of it, so that way they will stay large and they'll continue to get large. Otherwise, they'll start shrinking down and be smaller and smaller and smaller, which I do see with my reds. They tend to, when the bin gets, or the bags or whatever they're in, get overly crowded, they tend to shrink down really small. They get smaller and smaller. So I'm hoping that this will make it where they will continue to grow large. So we're going to go into this system. We're going to see if there's any large worms in there, how they've worked on the cardboard, and then we're going to take the large ones out and add them to a new bin that I just got set up a week ago, or 2 weeks ago. I had it all wet. Everything is moist. It's just a cardboard only bin at this point. And the idea is to get the worms to start laying cocoons in there, and then hopefully that'll become a new breeder bin as well. So that's what I'm trying with this. I've never really done this before, where I've tried to breed up a large herd before. Normally I just kind of threw all my worms in a bin, and hey, I got extra worms at the end. I'd put them in a new system, and that's how I'd expand. This time I'm specifically trying to grow the herd. So this is a little bit different, but let me know what you think down in the comments about this. I think it's something worth trying, and we're going to see if we can kind of grow this herd out. We also have, of course, the hamster bedding bin, which also has a whole bunch of large African Nightcrawlers in it, and that's also with a cardboard really only material, and we'll see how that's going as well as we go through this process. So with that, let's go to the bin. All right, here's the African Nightcrawler system, and if you remember from the past, or what I did last time here, first off, let's just take a look at the top. Looks fine. Nothing surprising there. Actually, let me add a little bit more light in here. I think this is, my lights are pointed a little bit away instead of right on everything here. There we go. So hopefully that's a little better. All right, so I added in this divider. I moved everything to this side, put in this divider, and I put in a ton of cardboard in this section over here. This was all cardboard, and as you can tell, there's still a lot of cardboard in here. So they sort of slowed down on eating this. Here's our first large one here. So this looks a little dry in the corner over here. This looks a little dry, so maybe that's why it's not going quite as fast. But let's just dig down in here and take a look. Oh, there we go. There's another big one right here. Material looks a little dry in here. I will have to add some water. I actually don't have any, I think, in my basement at this moment. This sheet looks very moist, and we see some worms crawling away there. So I wonder if this is too much of a barrier to let them over here. But let's just take a look at the castings over here. And look at these castings. They look absolutely wonderful. So we are, though, going to pull out some of these worms. I'm going to put them in a container right next door. Some of these larger worms that we're finding in here. And we're going to add those to another system and see if we can get another system up and running, which is set up in a similar way. Lots of cardboard. I remember we pulled out the African Nightcrawlers. There's one running away over here. Wow, look at this one. Look at this one, a very active one. See, that one's just crawling along there. So I'm hoping that I can sort of get a couple systems running here with these worms and really get them to expand. Another pretty large one there. And as they keep eating through this material, which I have tons and tons of cardboard in my house, this way we can build up a nice large population of these African Nightcrawlers to really eat through stuff. They seem to be voracious eaters, which is just wonderful. Here we go. Another one right here. I can grab them. By the way, the only thing I did since the last time I touched this bin is there was a spider in here when I first brought it over here that I killed. That's about it. So I haven't really added anything in here. It does look a little dry. This material, as I said, I mean, it definitely could use a little bit of moisture. I think after this video is over, I'll spray this down worm over here in this corner. So as you can see, right there, another worm. Not too many large ones. I know we picked out a lot of them last time. They're probably still looking for paper in here. But like so far, I mean, like you could tell, this is just almost all castings on this side now, where we had the original cardboard and everything. And this is still incredibly quick for worms to process a ton of cardboard without any real like food materials. It's primarily just cardboard. Oh, here we go. And if you see any cocoons in here, let me know. I'm not really good at looking for cocoons in general, but I've heard that these are a little bit smaller, and the worms, the baby worms, are much smaller as well for African Nightcrawlers. So I'm just trying to find the large ones here. Picking them out. Dropping them in the bucket right next door. We already did this once, remember. We picked out almost all the large ones for my hamster bedding bins, which I'll have an update for probably also within this week. See how that's doing. And we're probably going to have to add more bedding to that because I've got more hamster bedding that's ready to go. You know, I've always been letting it sit, but so quite a few worms in here still. All right, I think that's it for this. I think I might just take this out. Let's just do that. Let them go back and forth freely between the two areas here. Here's another large one. And another one. So a couple of them made it into this new section, but not as many. The top was definitely eaten away. Corners were as well. Hopefully with that they'll start moving over a little bit more maybe. Kind of get this a little bit more mixed together. But overall, they're still doing a great job. I mean, we have a couple clumps in here on this side, but other than that, there's another one. So we're taking out almost all the large worms out of here that I can find. So we're taking out any worm that's a decent size. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to put the plastic cover back on. As I said, I'll try to add water later. I just don't have any down here ready to go. So we're going to put that cover back on right there. And let me grab the new system that we're going to add these worms to, which is set up very similar to this. I just want to see how quickly they can move through this. Now I had sprayed this down. This material was wet. It has a smaller piece of bubble wrap on the top. Make sure I get that lined up right. I've had this sitting for probably a week. Let's just make sure it's still wet. Actually, this might have dried out in the amount of time it's been sitting here. It's still damp in the bottom here. It's not quite as wet as it was, but what we can do is we can actually add some special food to this or something to moisten it up. Now, I wasn't planning on doing this, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of watermelon to the bottom. This is going to add moisture. It's currently frozen, so it should be bug-free. But this will hopefully get the worms in here and get some moisture in this bin. As you can see, there's plenty of, it's all just paper right now. It's dry on the corners. The center section is a little bit more moist where the paper was, or the bubble wrap, sorry. We're going to just add this to the bottom. I know this is frozen, which probably is not great for them since they like warmer temperatures. And it has been warmer in here, but we're just going to do that for now. As I said, I just don't have any water. I thought I had some water in my basement, but I just realized that the water canister that I had next to me is dry. And these are the worms that I pulled out. So it's not a whole lot. You know, my gloves now shouldn't be cold. They should be my temperature. But we're going to put these guys in here and just see how they can do. Now, I'm going to get some water in here. I'm going to moisten this down again after this video. As I said, I have to run upstairs and grab that. But for right now, I'm just going to put this over the top. And today is September 12th. So there's a little bit of food in here for them, but we're going to see if these guys can start working on this. It's not nearly as many as the amount that I had before, but there's still a good chunk of worms in here. I mean, you can see, I mean, that is a decent size amount. You know, but these are bigger worms, so hopefully we'll see they'll multiply quickly in here, and hopefully they'll be able to take over this system, along with the other systems that I have them in. I have all these, by the way, also side by side, so these worms can move from bin to bin whenever they want. They're not stuck in one or the other. They can move to this system, to the hamster bedding one, to the other system that I just showed you. So these are all side by side. They're all squished in on one row, and that way they can kind of go where they want and do what they need to do to stay stay healthy. If this one's not doing well, they can kind of crawl over this wall to the next one and the next one after that if they want to. And that way they have a little bit of space to wander if they want. So that's what's going on with my African Nightcrawlers. Not much of a change really, but I just wanted to give everyone an update here on what's going on. And what I'm hoping to do is really try to grow out this small section of worms, expand their population, and do that across all my systems with these worms. I'm really hoping to get like a lot of these going, because I just have a ton of cardboard I really need to process, and I'd love it if these guys could eat the material. So thank you for watching, and if you have any questions or comments or suggestions, this was a suggestion from somebody that I should constantly just move these guys, all the large ones, to new systems and expand the herd that way. This was a complete comment down below. This was not something that I had thought to do. So if you have any other suggestions, please let me know. And as I said, I will add more moisture to this. This is a little bit too dry right now. So thank you for watching.